In a city choked by plague and ruled by corruption, where shadows whisper secrets and every choice leaves a stain, one man rises from betrayal to become either a savior or a monster. Welcome to Gaming Lore Chronicles. Today, we step into the grim, oil-soaked streets of Dunwall and unravel the dark, supernatural tale of Dishonored. A story of revenge, power, and consequence. This is a world where towering whale oil technology fuels an empire on the brink, where the elite hide behind masks of nobility while the poor rot in the streets below. The line between justice and vengeance is razor thin, and every decision you make ripples through the fate of the city itself. Guided by shadows and marked by something beyond human understanding, your journey will challenge not just your skill, but your morality. Whispers of conspiracy echo through every alley, and danger lurks behind gilded doors and rusted gates alike. Allies may not be what they seem, and enemies often wear the faces of those in power. In Dunwall, truth is buried beneath layers of deceit, waiting for those bold or desperate enough to uncover it. So dim the lights, listen closely, and prepare to walk the path of Corvo Attano, the royal protector turned assassin. In a tale where loyalty is fragile, power is seductive, and destiny is yours to shape. You are Corvo Attano, once the most trusted blade of the Empire, the royal protector sworn to defend the Empress at all costs. After months away on a diplomatic mission seeking aid for a spreading plague, you return home to Dunwall, only to find a city already slipping into decay. The air feels heavier, the streets are quieter, fear has taken root, rats swarm the alleys in unnatural numbers, and the distant coughs of the infected echo through narrow corridors. Something is wrong not just with the city, but with the very soul of the Empire. Reunited briefly with Jessamine Caldwin, there is little time for relief. In a sudden, chilling moment, masked assassins emerge from the shadows, silent, supernatural, unstoppable. Before Corvo can react, the impossible happens. The Empress is struck down, her life taken in seconds, and her daughter, Emily Caldwin, is ripped away into the darkness. And you are left holding the blame. The assassins vanish as quickly as they came, leaving behind confusion, blood, and a carefully crafted narrative. Guards flood the scene. There are no questions, no search for truth, only accusation. The royal protector, found at the center of the crime, is declared a traitor to the crown. In a single night, Corvo loses everything. His honor, his freedom, and the people he swore to protect. Thrown into Coldridge Prison, you await execution as the Empire turns its back on you. Interrogations follow, brutal, relentless, and futile. They demand a confession for a crime you did not commit. Each day chips away at your former life, replacing it with something colder, something harder. Yet even in the depths of a prison cell, hope finds a way in. A secret message arrives, smuggled, unexpected. There are still those in Dunwall who believe in your innocence, those willing to risk everything to see the truth restored. And with that message comes a plan, an escape, because the truth has not been buried, it has been hidden. And Corvo Attano is about to step out of the chains of betrayal and into the shadows of revenge. As Corvo Attano awaits execution in the cold, unforgiving depths of Coldridge Prison, the world he once knew feels impossibly distant. The days blur together, interrogations, silence, and the slow erosion of hope. But just when all seems lost, something strange begins to unfold. A secret message reaches his cell. Hidden allies, known only as loyalists, have not abandoned him. They offer escape, a chance to fight back, and more importantly, a chance to uncover the truth. Under the cover of darkness, Corvo breaks free from his chains and vanishes into the night, leaving behind the identity of a condemned man. But freedom is only the beginning. That night, as Corvo drifts into uneasy sleep, he is pulled into a place beyond reality, a void of shifting stone and endless sea. Here, he meets the outsider, a mysterious and godlike being who exists outside the boundaries of time, morality, and understanding. The outsider offers no clear allegiance, no guidance of right or wrong. Instead, he gives Corvo a gift, or perhaps a test. With a single touch, A supernatural mark is burned into Corvo's hand, granting him abilities far beyond any ordinary man. In that moment, Corvo becomes something more than human, and something far more dangerous. Armed with powers like Blink, allowing him to move instantly through space, dark vision to see through walls, and possession to control living beings, Corvo is now a force that can reshape the fate of Dunwall itself. But these powers come with a silent question. How will you use them? The outsider does not interfere. He only watches. Every choice, every life taken or spared, becomes part of a larger experiment, one that tests the nature of power and the limits of human morality. As Corvo joins the Loyalists and begins hunting those responsible for the Empress's death, he walks a fragile line between justice and vengeance. Each mission pulls him deeper into the shadows, where enemies grow more dangerous and the temptation of power grows stronger. Because in the world of Dishonored, the greatest threat is not the plague, nor the conspirators lurking in power. It is what Corvo Attano may become. With the mark of the outsider etched into his hand, Corvo Attano steps fully into the shadows of Dunwall. But what he finds is a city far worse than he remembered. The plague has tightened its grip. Entire districts are abandoned, sealed off behind walls of desperation. The sick wander aimlessly as weepers, their minds broken, their bodies consumed. Swarms of rats flood the streets, feeding on the dead and spreading death even further. The once proud capital of the empire is no longer just corrupted. It is collapsing. But beneath the chaos lies something far more sinister. At the center of it all is Hiram Burrows, the Lord Regent who has seized control in the aftermath of the Empress's death. Publicly, he claims to be fighting the plague. Privately, he is the one who helped create the crisis, using it as a tool to rise to power. Fear has become his greatest weapon, and Dunwall is his unwilling victim. As Corvo works with the Loyalists, each mission reveals another piece of the conspiracy. Corrupt officials, sadistic overseers, and power-hungry aristocrats. All connected, all complicit. One by one, Corvo hunts them down, dismantling the regime from the inside. Yet one name stands above the rest. Dud, leader of the Deadly Whalers, the man who struck the killing blow against the Empress. Unlike the others, Dud is not just another pawn of corruption. He is something more complex, a mirror to Corvo himself. Both are assassins. Both wield the outsider's mark. And both are bound by choices that cannot be undone. As Corvo closes in on his targets, the city continues to change around him. The more blood that is spilled, the darker Dunwall becomes. More rats, more weepers, more despair. Violence feeds the chaos, and chaos feeds the fall of the city. In this decaying world, there are no clean victories, only consequences. And with every step forward, Corvo Attano must face a growing question. Is he saving Dunwall, or simply becoming another part of its destruction? As Corvo Attano moves deeper into his mission, the lines between justice and vengeance begin to blur. The conspirators are within reach, their power crumbling piece by piece, but the path taken to reach them is entirely his to choose. In Dishonored, the world does not simply react to your presence. It reacts to your actions. This is the heart of the chaos system. Every guard eliminated, every innocent life taken, every violent choice adds weight to the world. High chaos transforms Dunwall into something even darker. Rats multiply, the plague spreads faster, and fear tightens its grip on what remains of society. The city begins to reflect Corvo's brutality, becoming more hostile, more broken, more unforgiving. But there is another way. Through patience, stealth, and restraint, Corvo can choose a quieter path. Enemies can be outsmarted, neutralized without death, or even spared entirely. In doing so, the world begins to shift in a different direction. Less death, fewer weepers, and a fragile sense of hope struggling to survive. What makes this journey powerful is not just the freedom of choice, but the weight behind it. Targets are not always simple villains. Some are cruel, yes, but others are flawed, desperate, or manipulated by forces beyond their control. Deciding their fate is never just about completing a mission. It's about defining who Corvo becomes with each decision. Even the watchful presence of the outsider lingers in the background, silently observing. He offers no judgment, no interference, only curiosity. To him, Corvo is not a hero or a villain, but an answer to a question: what happens when a man is given power without limits? As the conspiracy unravels and the final pieces fall into place, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. The fate of Dunwall is no longer in the hands of kings or regents. It rests entirely in the hands of Corvo Attano, and the choices he is willing to live with. With the conspiracy nearly shattered and the truth within reach, Corvo Attano finally stands on the edge of victory. The enemies who once seemed untouchable have fallen, their power dismantled piece by piece. For a moment, it seems the nightmare gripping Dunwall might finally come to an end. But in a city built on deceit, trust is the most dangerous illusion of all. The loyalists, those who freed Corvo, who guided him, who claimed to fight for justice, reveal their true intentions. Fearing the power Corvo has gained and no longer needing the weapon they created, they turn against him. Poisoned and left for dead, Corvo is cast aside, betrayed by the very people he believed were allies. As darkness closes in once more, the pattern becomes clear. This was never just about revenge. It was about power, and everyone who sought it was willing to sacrifice anything to claim it. But Corvo survives. Dragging himself back from the brink, he rises once more, not as a servant of others, but as a force driven by his own will. With nothing left to lose, he sets his sights on one final goal: rescuing Emily Caldwin and deciding the true fate of the Empire. The final confrontation awaits at the towering lighthouse on King Sparrow Island, a place where all paths converge. Here, every decision made throughout the journey comes to bear. The level of chaos in the city shapes what unfolds: a desperate, storm-lashed struggle in a broken world, or a tense but hopeful resolution where the future still holds light. In the end, Corvo's story is not defined by a single act, but by the sum of his choices. Will he become a silent guardian, restoring order and placing Emily on the throne as a just ruler? Or will he embrace vengeance, carving a darker legacy into the heart of Dunwall? Even the outsider, ever the observer, offers no answer, only acknowledgement. Because the outcome was never his to decide. It was always yours. And as the shadows finally settle, one truth remains: power does not corrupt. It reveals. Interesting facts. Dishonored was developed by Arcane Studios and published by Bethesda Softworks, releasing in 2012 to critical acclaim for its freedom of choice and immersive design. The game's distinctive visual style was led by art director Victor Antonoff, known for his work on Half-Life 2. His influence gave Dunwall its unique blend of industrial grit and stylized realism. Corvo Attano is intentionally silent throughout most of the first game, aside from combat grunts, allowing players to project their own personality and moral choices onto him. He becomes fully voiced in Dishonored 2. The chaos system is one of the game's defining mechanics. It doesn't just affect the ending, it dynamically changes mission dialogue, enemy presence, environmental details, and even how characters react to Corvo. Players can complete the entire game without killing a single target or enemy, earning the Clean Hands achievement, proving that Dishonored fully supports a non-lethal playthrough. Many assassination targets have unique non-lethal elimination methods, often darker or more ironic than simply killing them, highlighting the game's theme that mercy isn't always morally simple. The Outsider was written to be morally neutral. He does not guide or judge Corvo, but instead observes how humans use power when given freedom. The rat plague in Dunwall was inspired by historical pandemics like the Black Death, but exaggerated to create a more oppressive and dangerous atmosphere. Dud, the assassin who killed the Empress, later becomes a playable character in the DLC's The Knife of Dunwall and the Brigmore Witches, offering a different perspective on the story. The game encourages vertical exploration. Many players miss hidden routes above rooftops, ledges, and chandeliers, which are key to mastering stealth. Dishonored has multiple endings and variations depending on chaos level and key decisions, making each playthrough potentially very different. Whale oil, a central resource in the game, powers much of Dunwall's technology, reflecting a fictional but thematically grounded take on industrial-era energy dependence. From the shadowy rooftops to the plague-ridden alleys, Dishonored is far more than a stealth adventure. It is a study of power, morality, and the consequences of choice. In Dunwall, every alley hides secrets, every decision carries weight, and every shadow could be your ally or your doom. Corvo Attano's journey reminds us that heroism is never simple, and vengeance is never clean. With the mark of the outsider, the line between justice and chaos blurs, and the city itself becomes a mirror of the player's choices. Whether you walk the path of mercy or succumb to ruthless efficiency, one thing is clear. In a world this broken, every action echoes. Every life spared or taken shapes the future of Dunwall, leaving a legacy that can be either hopeful or haunting. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the shadows and intrigue of Dishonored. If you enjoyed uncovering the secrets, conspiracies, and moral complexity of Dunwall, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned to Gaming Lore Chronicles for more journeys into the worlds where story, choice, and consequence collide. Until next time, watch the shadows, trust cautiously, and remember, power doesn't corrupt, it reveals.